Hi, this is Cheryl Gallant, your Conservative Member of Parliament for the riding of Algonquin Renfrew-Pembroke that respects ethical behavior. This week we take a look at Carney's record-breaking ethical conflicts, his $300,000 skating rink, and his secret vacation spot. Let's dive in. The Ethics Commissioner's Office has finally published Mark Carney's financial disclosures. What they reveal is stunning. Mark Carney is the most conflicted prime minister in history. A lot of the headlines about Carney are focused on his stock holdings, but the bigger story is his stock options and recusals. In order for Carney to be in compliance with the conflict of interest law, he had to come into an agreement with the Office of the Ethics Commissioner over what types of issues Carney would need to step away from in order to avoid the appearance of a conflict of interest. Justin Trudeau had to recuse himself from any discussion involving one company. Mark Carney has to recuse himself from any discussions that touch on 103 companies. This will severely limit what issues the Prime Minister could be involved with if he followed the rules. Except we know he's not going to follow the rules. On May 6th, he met with the CEO of Brookfield Infrastructure. On April 30th, he was lobbied by North River Midstream. Both of those companies are on his list of recusals. For his illegal behavior, Carney may face a slap on the wrist and a $500 fine. It'll be up to his chief of staff and clerk of the Privy Council to enforce his recusal. These 103 recusals make Mark Carney the most conflicted prime minister ever. The other major issue is Carney's stock options. A stock option isn't the same as a stock. If you own a stock and you put it into a blind trust, your trustee can sell it and use the proceeds to buy a different stock. In short order, you'd have no idea what stocks you own and which you don't. A stock option is the option to purchase a stock at a specific price after a specific date. Stock options are used by corporations to incentivize employees. You can't sell an option. Mark Carney can give the power to a trustee to decide when to exercise the option, but the trustee can't do that before the option date. Mark Carney will always know the value and the size of his stock options, regardless of whether or not he puts them into a blind trust. The reason this is important to you is that the Liberals and their media allies will try to fool Canadians into believing he has a blind trust. Well, the blinds are Venetian, and Carney can see right through them. Carney's ethics disclosure also listed the companies Carney had stock in before being placed in a blind trust. The document runs for 16 pages, and 99% of the stocks are in U.S. companies. What it demonstrates is that the man currently leading the Liberal Party knew how badly managed the Canadian economy had been over the last decade. Liberal rule is so bad, even Liberals won't put their money where their mouths are. The day after the Liberals announced plans to cut program spending, the Liberal government issued a sole-sourced contract to build a $300,000 skating rink at Rideau Hall. Since Trudeau decided to abandon 24 Sussex and allow it to fall in disrepair, the Prime Minister has been living on the grounds of Rideau Hall. The contract was issued by the National Capital Commission, or the NCC for short. The NCC is responsible for maintaining Rideau Hall, 24 Sussex, and turning the Rideau Canal into the world's longest skating rink each year. There's been a skating rink each year at Rideau Hall, but it was never a refrigerated surface. Controversially, the City of Ottawa built a refrigerated rink outside City Hall about 50 meters away from the Rideau Canal. Local taxpayers were not impressed. Like most Canadian cities, each winter community rinks run by volunteers pop up across Ottawa. And that's not even counting the thousands of backyard rinks Canadians build each year. For 150 years, the Rideau Hall skating rink was essentially that, a fancy backyard rink open to the public. A simple, humble ice rink amidst the royal grandeur of Rideau Hall. Now, it's being replaced with an expensive, specialized glycol refrigerated frozen surface. This will ensure a skating rink is operational for the entire winter, a real boon for the stately mansions and diplomatic residences that make up the community of Rockcliffe Park, which surrounds Rideau Hall. Residents may even get a chance to see the Prime Minister out on the ice in his best $2,000 boots. Following Justin Trudeau's multiple vacation controversies, such as the Aga Khan's Island or the Billionaire Buddies Resort or surfing in Tofino, the Liberal government decided that the Prime Minister's holidays were a state secret. Knowing where the Prime Minister is vacationing is now a matter of national security. Without more information, it's impossible to say where the Prime Minister is. It's possible he's taking time out of his self-declared national crisis to enjoy the major renovations Trudeau undertook at the Prime Minister's cottage. In 2019, Trudeau spent $2.5 million of tax dollars on a backup cottage at Harrington Lake. The NCC said the backup cottage would be used while the $8.6 million tax renovations were being done to the 16-room vacation home. Now that doesn't include the $2.3 million tax dollars the RCMP spent on security upgrades. Harrington Lake is essentially a private lake for the Prime Minister in the middle of a national park. That the Liberals think this is some huge national security secret is deeply troubling. The Prime Minister's security is important, but the real national security priority is the continuity of government. Our enemies really don't care where the Prime Minister puts up his feet because they know he can be replaced by any member of Parliament. It's just another example of the Liberal Party confusing party interests with national interests. Live from Ottawa, this is Cheryl Gallant.